there, Geek Collective, and welcome to Geeks Plus Comics, where we're more than just your average geek. And welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Comics, where I am sitting down once again with our good friend Bruno Catarino with another phenomenal comic coming out. Bruno is a frequent flyer here at the channel at this point. He's been here a few times. If you've missed any of our previous stuff, I'll put a link up in the corner so you can go and check it out and see our previous interviews and our previous reviews of his stuff. But Bruno, thank you so much for joining us again on the show. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. And once again, thank you for having me. It's always fun. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, and thank you for reaching out to us again with your new comic, Crimson Bay #1, which I believe at this moment is live on Kickstarter.
Yeah, it is. It's been live for a week-ish, a little bit over a week. Yeah.
So absolutely, I'll put the link for Crimson Bay down below so y'all can go and check it out. So go and have a look at the Kickstarter page itself. But I'm excited to get into this one with you today. So Crimson Bay is very different from the stuff we've kind of talked about before. The stuff you've been on for before has been very particular and very sci-fi focused, very sci-fi in intention, whereas this one is very much not. It's a very different setting, a very different take. Just even from just the front cover, let alone when you get into the comic, it gives more video game vibes. It's like definitely had a feeling of like sitting watching like a Street Fighter movie or something like that. It's very much had that sort of feel to it, which is so far in departure from the stuff we've done with you before. So what was the inspiration and the idea behind Crimson Bay?
Uh, well, do you want the long version or the short version?
Yeah, absolutely. You
uh,
can do the long version.
yeah, I mean, I think I mentioned before, one of the previous times that I was here that I kind of started writing for film before writing comics.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, I had a lot of pitches prepared for stuff, and one of the stuff that I had is I had like this pitch for a TV show for, let's say, a popular-ish adaptation of a video game around this area, and I mean, it's hard to get stuff done when it's original. It's even harder when it's existing IP,
Mm-hmm.
that you don't control. Um, and I kind of just got tired of waiting, and I just thought, you know what? I don't really need. There's a lot of unique aspects to the way that I would do it that I could just, create my own characters, create my own. Well, the story was basically my own already. So I kind of just thought, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead with this and just do it. Uh, you know, Unique characters, unique setting. Yeah, that's kind of it. It's like very inspired by, yeah, video games, because it was really, initially it was kind of a pitch for, you know something that already existed. So I just kind of just uh yeah, just added elements that were, my own, and yeah, to make it, its own thing. But yeah, that's really it, really.
That's awesome, though. So it was just an idea for an existing IP that you had, which obviously it didn't end up going that route and didn't end up going that path. Otherwise, we wouldn't have gotten Crimson Bay. Was it always intended to be a comic book adaptation?
No, no,
No.
not at all. I mean, yeah, like most of the stuff that I've done, that I started writing years ago, it was meant to be, film, TV, something like that. But, it's still visual media. It's still very much, you know, it's still kind of cinematic, or it has very strong anime vibes, also because it's
Yeah.
in this style by Samuel and Gio. And so they've done Bereavement, which I think was the first project that we spoke about,
Mm-hmm.
uh, if I remember correctly. So yeah, it's same artist and same colorist as Bereavement, and it's like, it has like this very uh, you know, anime, but also with a little bit of realism. kind of style,
Yeah, it's kind of
very
insane to think
vibrant
that it's the
colors.
same artist because like the art style is so different. The artwork, the coloring, everything is just so different from
Yeah.
anything that was in Bereavement. It's like it looks like a completely different project in every aspect. So definitely a kudos to the artists and the art team on that because like they did an amazing job with changing it up and making it feel like I said, I think before we even came on, I said to you, it felt like a video game. It feels like something that I would look at and like, yeah, this is a video game adaptation. These are definitely get the anime vibes to it, definitely get all that sort of feel to it, and they've definitely pulled that off, and it feels like it fits the genre. Um, and the artwork is just stunning, and it really is. It's very beautiful, very like you said. There's almost a weird realism to it because like it's clearly not realistic. It's clearly meant to be an over the top story and over the top stuff, but it still has a look of realism to it, which is really cool. And they've done a phenomenal job with it.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's it. I mean, we were talking about, earlier about how different it was, from the stuff that I've done before that was
Mm-hmm.
like, more sci-fi, more, I don't know, let's say, I don't know, deep philosophical, that kind of stuff. It had like some, more mature themes. And while round one, well, I'm calling it round one, which is issue one of Crimson Bay, is, more how would I call it, commercial or something like that. Sorry, it's some notification here that I don't know if you can hear it, so let me get rid of this.
You're good.
uh,
But no, it's like
what?
it's definitely got that. Like we talked about that, especially when it came to like cinematic figments. I think it's definitely the major one. It's probably the most out there because it's got so many different things going on. And I talked about in our last interview just the kind of the trip it was to go into that book because there was so much exploration, so much philosophy to it, so much like looking internally and analyzing stuff in yourself and how you would adapt to situation. Like there was so much of that. Not that it's a lesser project, but it's definitely Crimson Bay is definitely not that type of comic. It's much more of your standard. It's like a straightforward action movie type of story. It's a story of revenge. It's a story of like seeking to vengeance for a father that was killed, and it's like which is like yeah, that's a story that's been done a bunch of times before in a bunch of different genres. So it's something that's more familiar, like you said, a bit more commercial, a bit more understood. Not that that's a bad thing. Like there's a reason. I always talk about that when it comes to cliches with stories. Like there's a reason they're cliches. It's because they're used often and they're accepted
They work,
well
yeah.
and people enjoy them. Like a cliche becomes a cliche because people will enjoy seeing it over and over again. Like revenge for a dead dad is like yeah, that's a cliche people love. Like the action story of seeing the hero fight his way up to get that vengeance. Like it's absolutely a good standard. Um, and it's definitely well done in this. It's well done in this with the characters. I I love the kind of not to give away stuff, but as it gets to the end, the story definitely takes a little bit more of a twist as well from what you would expect from like a standard revenge story. Obviously, with like the stuff that our main character gets into at the very end of the first issue. Um, Again, don't want to give away too much of it at this point, but like it definitely adds a little twist to what is a standard vengeance story. Like, okay, now we're looking at things from a different perspective, and it's like even a little bit of questioning at the end with the stuff that he does in the last few pages of is it the right thing to do? You know, it's like
Mm,
in a sense of like because it's like he's been seeking vengeance, he's now doing something that like yes, it's the right thing to do, but it's also helping the person he's going after in a sense, and it's like it's hard to speak out and not like spoil what happens at the end of it, but it adds a like a questioning of like how much is vengeance worth a little bit, which is a it can be a really interesting kind of perspective on it as well.
yeah, and I think that's kind of the thing that attracts me about, stories is, or writing stories, especially stories like this, that's very much like, commercial, very, the cliche, it's, I think the interesting thing that, you hear very, very often that there are no original stories, right? Everything has been done.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess what we can do is basically, okay, what is the thing that has been done and how can I make it, different? And I think Crimson Bay is kind of a little bit like that. It's like, yeah, in when you first look at it, it's like, yeah, it's this revenge story. And even, Aiden, the main character, acknowledges like on page 3 that, it's a cliche what he's
Yeah.
doing. So it's like almost like self-aware in that thing. But yeah, towards the end of issue 1, there is more of I think it you start seeing the kind of story it is, and there's even a line on issue 2 which is already written, art is already ongoing. That is something like I don't know the exact quote, but it's something like, "This is not the revenge story you think it is,"
Mm.
said by one of the characters, but it's also kind of like this message to the reader of, you think you know where this is going, but not really.
Yeah.
It's not that kind of story. So yeah, I think that's the kind of thing that I appreciate when, you know, when I consume storytelling from other people, and also when I write it. I want to, give something that's somewhat familiar, but at the same time, yeah, so when you're not expecting punching you in a different, a different way, to use like an analogy from the book.
Yeah, and that's it. You want to do something different because that's like to think of it like we're getting a lot of like, especially in the movie industry right now, there's a lot of remakes and a lot of adaptations and a lot of stuff. And it's like, and one of the things I always hear from people is like, what's the best way to go about it? Like, so, like take like the Disney live action remakes and stuff right now. It's like they're running that kind of risk of either side of like, do you just shot for shot remake the story that everybody knows and give it what they expect, or like, do you change it and make like stuff and bring something new, a new perspective, a new interest to it, because that way it's like you're making it and at least doing something new with it. And I think that's the risk that you run with this, because it's like, well, if you're not doing something new with it, why make it at all? Like, why
Yeah,
rehash the stuff that you know if you're not adding to it? But there's also risk with that, because if you're adding something new to it, it's like people like, but I like the old thing. I like the way the story was told before. I like the type of story that was, and it's like, yeah, but you've got like 50 versions of that story. You got 50 versions of that. Go read those. Go watch those. Go experience those. And it's like, so I think that's the thing. Like, it's always intriguing. Like, I wouldn't expect anything less from you to be taking it in a different direction and doing your own kind of take on it, because that's definitely something you've, from reading your previous work, something that you do and are very good at,
thank you.
is kind of giving it its own voice in the midst of everything, which is absolutely awesome. And it's like, I think it definitely will add to the story in the long term. Because I definitely fall into more of the camp of like, well, what's the point in remaking it if we're not going to do something different? What's the
Yeah,
point in
100.
doing it if we're not going to add? You know?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, one of the things that for me has been, craziest is, I don't know what are your thoughts on, the Acolyte, the Star Wars show, but
Mm.
I kind of liked it. I honestly, I only watched it because everybody was like, "Oh, this is crap," and "This is crap," and they changed it, and I'm like, that was the only reason why I saw it, because there was so much outrage. So in a way, it was like the negative publicity that made me
Yeah, made
see
you
it.
want to check it out, and it's like, at the very least, it's like they took a risk. They tried
Yeah,
something new, because I'm like, there's only so many times I can hear the Skywalker story. I mean, we've seen that with the sequel trilogy.
yeah,
People got
it's
too
too
mad that
close.
things were the same. Like the first one came out, episode 7, and like everyone's like, but it's just a rehash of everything. And then episode 8, they changed everything. They went, oh, it's too different. It was like,
Yep, yeah,
make up your mind.
that's
Like we've literally done both, and you've complained at both, and it's like, so at least the Acolyte was like, hey, we're going to take a risk and do something different.
yeah. I think that's the thing. I mean, it's I'm currently writing like a Medium article kind of about that. It's connected with comics, but it kind of touches on film, and it's really much about that. It's the yeah, you're in this, tightrope where if you go any way, one side or the other, you fall. In a way, it's like, yeah, it's
That's literally
like
what
you
it's
said.
like. Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, the industry is like you're remaking a lot of stuff, but it still needs to be super close. I don't know. Yeah, people keep complaining about there are no more original movies. Hollywood has run out of ideas, that sort of stuff, and that's not true at all.
No.
There's a lot of original ideas there's a lot of spec scripts written every year that never get made
Yeah.
because Hollywood only makes what makes money. And in a way, and this is the thing that it's unpopular to say, but I'm going to blame audiences, and I'm part of audiences, right? But it's
Yeah.
it's really much about that. Every time you see like a new indie film,
Mm-hmm.
people don't watch it, right? So yeah, it's this weird thing where people complain there's no more original stuff, but when you do make something original, people don't go watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I mean, it's true though. It's like because like there's some great like in the last few years we've had some great smaller films and indie films and lesser known films that have came out, and they've done amazing. And if you actually sit and watch them, it's like wow, this is such a cool concept. This is really intriguing. Whereas we've also seen like the big budget rehashing of stuff, like the Marvel movies, for example, is the best take. Ever since Endgame, everyone's just complained these aren't enjoyable, and I'll be honest, like after a certain point, I kind of stopped watching because I'm like, I'm not enjoying it, but I'm not going to pay and watch them anymore because I'm like, I've kind of I'm done. You're just not. If you can hook me back in, by all means, but at the same time, it's like these movies are still making millions and occasionally
yeah,
billions, and it's like that's why
you'll be
the
fine.
companies keep going back to them because like even though people complain about them, you're still paying for them, you're still making
Yeah,
money.
yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. I don't think the Marvel movies got significantly worse than before. I think people just had like I don't know, like some filter where everything was great. And it's like, no, Marvel had a lot of stinkers in the first three phases. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say stinkers, but they had bad movies.
Yeah, they had
They
movies
had
that were
okay
like
movies.
okay, they weren't great. It's like I mean, there's a
Yeah,
lot of kind of belief of that, like Iron Man 3, Thor: The Dark World, stuff like that are usually like, for the most part, seen as like these aren't great movies.
yeah, exactly. And nowadays, the movies they are making nowadays are not fantastic, but they are not terrible. Most of them, it's like they're just the same in a
Mm-hmm.
way, right? I mean, I won't obviously say which movie, but I saw a Marvel movie recently that I enjoyed it, but by the end of it, I was like, this is a completely unnecessary movie. You know, we would have been fine if this movie never got made.
Yeah.
And it was a really popular movie. It's just that, it's more of the same for those characters. Nothing changed. Didn't really add anything. And yeah, I guess goes back to what you were saying of, it's yeah, it keeps repeating, remaking the same stuff, and it's even though if it's different enough, but it's still like I don't know, it's still not adding much. But yeah,
Hey there, Geek Collective. Did you know that Geeks Plus is also on Patreon? For as little as just $2 a month, you can also support us over on Patreon and get early access to all of our YouTube videos from Geeks Plus Comics, Geeks Plus Tabletop, and Geeks Plus Gaming, as well as a whole bunch of exclusive content specifically for our supporters over on Patreon, and early access to all the behind the scenes and ongoings with the company. So if you would like to check out all of that stuff and help support what we do here at Geeks Plus, we would greatly appreciate heading over to patreon.com/geeksplusmedia and supporting us over there. But that's all from me from now. You all have a good day, and let's get back into your video. No,
sorry, I kind of
absolutely.
went on a tangent
No, it's absolutely fine, but I think it definitely makes the point more though of like what you're saying with like Crimson Bay is like you could easily have just done the typical vengeance story, the vengeance story that everyone's done, the vengeance story that's been done in Hollywood like 50 million times over. Like It's not a new archetype of a story by no means. In fact, it's probably one of the oldest stories out there.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's been done time and time again, and you know, it's like it's definitely. And even like I said to you before we came on, like you can kind of see what the IP was meant to be that you were aiming for. I believe. I don't know if I can say it out, but it's like
Maybe
it's
you don't. Maybe you can't.
maybe you can't, but maybe you can't. But it's definitely got a feel of certain like video game stuff and like movies that I've seen from those games. It's like, but at the same time, it's like it's definitely got its own take on it. Like, cause you have to set up the world, but then it's like that ending of the first issue is like, okay, we're doing something a little different. And like you say, going into issue two, it's kind of like, okay, well, it's clearly going to go a slightly different path than what people are expecting. And I'm like, I think that's the best you can do with an issue one is like hook them with like this is a story it is, but it's not that type of vengeance story. Um,
Mhm.
the characters as well, definitely very intriguing characters. Very, we get little hints of a lot of the characters. Obviously, it's an issue one. We don't get deep dives into anybody yet because you can't in an issue one. It just doesn't happen. We get Aiden as the main character, our fiery redhead fighter. We meet his brother who comes into it, and some great back and forth between them in the story. Um, what's her name? I'm completely blanking on it. The woman that tries to recruit Aiden.
Mailing.
Mei-Ling, that was it. Like, could not
Yes.
remember her name there. And I'm like, we meet her, and that adds a whole new intrigue to the story as well. Because at first we think she's working for like the big bad or something, and he's now aware that Aiden's there, but it's like she's not. So there's some other player in the mix, and I'm like, so in the first issue, there's a lot of intrigue as to like what's going on and just how the world works and all the elements to it. And I think you've set up a very intriguing first issue because I always say that's the point of an issue one. It's not necessarily to be amazing storytelling, deep character, any of that stuff. It's you need to give me enough to hook me to want to come back for issue two. That's the point of an issue one solely is like you set up stuff enough to make it intriguing and make me want to find out more about these characters, find out more about this world, find out more about what's going on. And I think you definitely do that with Crimson Bay. It's like I'm definitely like, okay, I want to check out issue two and see where this goes.
Thank you. Yeah, that's good to hear.
Yeah, like that's I think that's the basis of an issue one, and I think you definitely accomplish that. So
wait,
you
wait,
go,
wait for issue two.
yeah,
Yeah, let's just say that it's a little bit more cliffhangery.
awesome. I'm definitely looking forward to it. To go back to the creation stuff a little bit, so you'd said initially, like with this, it was made as it was going to be like a movie or TV show based on a certain IP. That obviously never came to pass because we now have Crimson Bay. At what point did you look at the script and look at what you had and decide, like, I'm going to turn this into its own thing? And was that like initially going into a comic, or were you initially thinking, okay, I'll make it its own show or its own movie? And or
Uh,
was it straight to the comic book form?
no, it was to the comic book form. I mean, to be clear, this was never, all it was like a pitch, like a 1 page or 2 page, like
Yeah,
outline of what I would wanted it to be. At some point, I had like it wasn't really a pitch deck, but I had like a big flyer with some images from the game, and I used to go a lot to a screenwriting festival where you'd have a chance to pitch to some execs, and I think I did pitch it to a couple of people, which had no connection to the people who own the IP at all. Uh, but you meet people, you introduce them something. If they have connections, they might uh, reach out to the people who own the IP, and how things might work. But never got anywhere. And
yeah,
it's not a project that I actually invested a lot of time until the moment that I started with Crimson Bay. It's just that I had like this idea. I really love this game. I thought, okay, I really want to. Uh, I would. It would be a dream gig to be able to write a series for that game. But it's all it was. I always knew that I was not at a point where it was realistic to think I would have ever had a chance to actually write it. uh, and yeah, at the point that I kind of started moving away from film and TV and more towards comics, it kind of became clear. I kind of wanted to find, yeah, like you say, I was working a lot in, bereavements, cinematic figments. The more, the more out there, the less um, mainstream kind of comics, and I felt like I needed to do a couple of projects that are a little bit more mainstream,
Yeah.
that can grab a little bit more people, if I'm entirely honest. And I thought, well, Crimson Bay is a good one. It's based on, you know, an era that is very much on entertainment a lot nowadays, which is like, 80s, 90s. You
Hmm.
see a lot of stuff being remade that was, originally 80s and 90s. So it's kind of just grabbing like, that nostalgia slice of thing. Um, yeah, it was, and it has to be something that I enjoy doing. And because I
Yeah.
enjoyed the ideas I had for this story, I thought, okay, this is a perfect project to do that because I can do something fairly commercial that I still enjoy. That it's not just, you know, uh, yeah, that it's not just a revenge story. That it's not just not like Dragon Ball like fights, which I do love, but
Yeah.
it goes a little bit deeper. So yeah, it's I don't know. That's really why I decided to turn Crimson Bay into a comic, and it was straight into comic because yeah, it was not realistic to. If it was impossible to get the original IP done as a TV show, it was even more impossible to do it, Crimson Bay, because it's a new IP that people don't know. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
No, absolutely. I mean, that definitely makes sense. It definitely makes sense for that, and it's like love just that creation process of how this little idea turning into this awesome story that you've kind of created and put out there, and it's like I think it's definitely done a great work with it.
Yeah, and
Um,
it kind of exploded because it kind of exploded a lot because it started like these like one arc where I'm telling like 5 6 issues story. uh and yeah, it really exploded because I've been having all these ideas. I have a massive file with notes of ideas, and it's as of now, it's probably going to be like 4 or 5 arcs. And I started having ideas
wow,
about, after that, and I'm like, okay. So yeah,
that's awesome.
it really grew into something a lot more complex than I originally intended.
That's brilliant though, because like clearly it's the story of vengeance right now, and it's a story arc that we're playing through, and like, but to know like it is one of those things of like you do question some of the stuff. Okay, if they get vengeance and they get revenge and all that stuff, and that's taken care of, it's like, well, what would be next for
Right.
characters like that? What would happen with them next? And it's like the fact you're like, yeah, I kind of know what's coming next, and it's like so much so like you said, like 4 or 5 arcs on, and possibly even beyond that. And I'm like, I think that adds to stuff because you've got this idea in your head. It's not just a case of like, okay, this is successful. We do the first story arc, and then if it's really successful, okay, I'll need to make up another one for it. It's like you're already fleshing it out in your head, which means you're already planning ahead of, I know the in depths of these characters. I know who they are. I know the journeys that they go on. I know how to flesh it out. I know how to lay seeds now in this first story arc that will set up stuff that's to come. And it's like, and it just expands the world and the characters so much, being able to do that. So I'm very intrigued to see where it goes. Obviously, we're a long way away from getting into those other story arcs. Issue 1 is just out now on Kickstarter, so we're still a little bit away from that, but it'll be very intriguing to see what stories are next for these characters.
Yeah, baby steps. But yeah, there are definitely things on issue one that very much kind of sets up stuff that happens, for example, in the second arc. That I don't think I would have time to give it. I don't know. I feel like I would not be able to pay it off in the way it deserves on the first arc with everything else that needs to happen in the first arc. So it's like, you know what, this can wait. I can kind of just get through this thing,
Yeah.
and I kind of like to do that. I mean, this is a big inspiration from writers like Chris Claremont, for example. The way that he did X-Men, the story was pretty much always going, but he would kind of
Yeah.
start setting up stuff that happened many issues further. And yeah, it's kind of getting a little bit of that. It's like, okay, here's a little hint of something that it's going to happen a little bit later on, but so yeah, it's I'm not making sense with this, but yeah, it's yeah, there's just too much in my head about this story now, and it's hopefully it will pay off nicely.
No, that's awesome though. But you're saying it's all kind of like not making sense to now, but like I wouldn't imagine much of it to make sense because there's so much to come that like you can't go into. It's like you know it in your head and what it's going to be, but like we just don't yet. But
Yeah.
I'm looking forward and I'm intrigued to see how it all comes together and what happens with it. I think it'll be really
Not even
interesting.
that. Not even that. I mean, I think it's really right now. I'm kind of trying to decide where to go with issue 3 because I know where it's going, but then I don't know the not wanting to give too much away, but the way that issue 2 ends, which again it's already written and the artwork is already halfway through, but I still haven't started writing issue 3 because I can't decide what to focus on issue 3. I think there's two different paths, and I'm like, do I want to go this way or that way? And yeah, it's very much that. It's like there's a lot of ideas, and then it's just bringing it together in a way that's concise, that it makes sense for other people, really.
That's awesome. That is superb. And like I'm very intrigued to see where the story goes. I'm very intrigued to see what you do with it. I very much did enjoy issue 1. I appreciate you sending it out to me to check out beforehand so that we could talk about it today. And it's like I think it's definitely something that if you're a fan of like, especially if you're a fan of like those vengeance stories, action, fighting, if you're fans of stuff like, the comparison I made is like it feels very Street Fighter was almost like my instinct right away. Like if you're a fan of those sorts of things and very intrigued by what we've said today, definitely go check out this Kickstarter. Go check out Crimson Bay #1. I think you'll enjoy it. If you like those stories that will stand out to you, I think the artwork itself is stunning and worth picking it up for. It's beautiful artwork. Very well done, very well coloured, very weirdly realistic, which is weird saying that because like it's such an over the top kind of concept, but it's like it does feel very realistic art. It's like I think this is something people will enjoy. I hope it gets some good success, and like you said, it's a lot more of a commercial story, so I hope a lot more people latch on to it. Not that your other stories didn't deserve it, because I absolutely loved those as well, but it's like it's definitely a very enjoyable story. I hope it'll catch on with people, and I think a lot of people will be able to connect with.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, it seemed to do with Kickstarter because it did get like the badge of Project We Love for the first
Oh,
time.
nice. That's
Yeah. Ooh.
awesome. That's always a good thing that gets it out there because it always catches people's attention.
Yeah. Hopefully so. Yeah. Let's see what happens.
But yeah, we'll see where it goes. We'll see what happens with it. I think. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to cover. Any last stuff you want to say about the project? Anything else you want to get out there about it? Anything we've not covered that you think people need to know?
I mean, not really. I mean, go check it out on Kickstarter. See if it's your thing. If it's not, shame on you. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, but if anyone who grew up in the 80s and 90s and very much grew up with like arcade fighting video games or anime from that era, films from that era, it's probably going to enjoy this because it's
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
It definitely has an 80s vibe to it. It definitely feels like in watching like an 80s movie sort of feel to it. It definitely had that nostalgia to it. So I think it's definitely accomplished that.
Thank you. Yeah. And
But
yeah, not much else to say. I mean, hopefully
yeah.
the book speaks for itself. The art definitely does.
Hmm.
So those guys did an amazing job. The lettering from yeah, Matthias is great. So just super professional guys doing this. So and then me. so so yeah, check it out.
But thank you so much. Again, guys, go down below, check out the Kickstarter link for Crimson Bait #1. It is down there. Go and check it out for yourself. It's live on Kickstarter now. Go and see some of the amazing artwork, some of the story laid out for you. Go and see some of uh, the tiers for support on Kickstarter that are available. Go and check it out there. And if you want to check out any of Bruno's other stuff and want to hear him talking about that, check out our interviews. Like I said at the start, we've got another couple of interviews here with another couple of his Kickstarter books that he put out. So go and see what you think of those as well. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me again, Bruno. Thank you so much for reaching out to us with this. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always, to have you on the show and to get to talk with you. And hopefully, yeah, we'll get to talk to you in the future about more stuff, more of these projects, especially if Crimson Bay keeps going forward. We'd love to chat with you as the more issues come out. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. And yeah, once again, thanks for having me. This is always fun. So yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us, everyone, for this. It has been an absolute pleasure. Hope you all go and check out the amazing Crimson Bay #1. And remember, it is a good week to be a geek. Take care. We'll see you all next time. Peace.